Okay, it says setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Dang. Cool. I think we are live. Let me see here. Looks like we are live.
Cool.
Hey guys, so Frambo here with my business partner Rainer.
What's up? What's up?
Before we dive right in, this is our first time, so we're kind of like noobs with this. So I'm gonna go check my phone, see if we're actually live on the Facebooks. Let me see here. Cool. If you guys are watching this, please feel free to drop a comment below. Just so we know someone's watching, right? And it's not just our parents that are watching, but someone is actually watching this. So let me check my phone real quick to make sure that you guys can hear our audio before we dive right in. Real quick to make sure that. All right, dude. I think we're live. I think this is working. Cool.
Nice.
So, welcome to the first episode of Automate Your Agency. If you guys are watching this for the first time, if you're watching the replay, hashtag live or hashtag replay down below, just so we know. We did make a post a few days ago or last week where, we were going to pull back the curtains of the automations that we have in place at our agency, Augment Digital. For those of you that have been following us for quite some time, you know that we're big on systems, we're big on processes, and, we have the most fanciest automations out there, I would assume. And a lot of people have been asking us about our automations, and so we're like, what if we just show like the automations that we have every week? And so we are doing this every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be in our Facebook group. Replays are going to be available. We're going to put it in the units tab just so you guys can come back to this. So welcome. This is our first show. Looks like we have a comment. Oh wow, we have one comment, dude. Look at that. Look at that. So
What's
I
up?
see Loy. Dude, I am sorry if I don't pronounce your name right, but Loy, it is so nice to see you on here and making that comment. Thank you so much for the support. So there is a 20-second delay here, guys. So if you have any questions, I will be monitoring my phone. We can answer that. So, dude, let's just go and get started.
Yeah, for sure. So, welcome to everyone who's here. If you're watching the replay, like Franca just dropped that comment. And yeah, for this one, we just really wanted to peel back on like anything that we have in our, in terms of automations, how we build it. And in this show, our goal here is to actually build it with you. Like we're not just gonna copy paste our zaps. We're just gonna pull what we have and then like figure out like, okay, let's build it on the fly with you. All right, just so you can see the thought process of like how we think about our automations and how we like to build them, and maybe even on the show we'll get to iterate on them with you. And just like with any system in your business, they all will grow over time, and that's what we want to kind of peel back the curtain on, right? So for this one specifically, if you guys see the description, we want to kind of talk about how we kind of track our metrics in for our agency, right? So for most businesses, you have some sort of lead gen going on, of course, right? To get new people on your like list, or like to get people to book a call with you, or like you send a proposal. Whatever your funnel is, you have some sort of sequence in which you get someone from a lead to becoming someone who gets on a call with you, right? And most people have this sheet, right? Most people use some sort of Google sheet that says like leads, and I'm just gonna share my screen so you guys can visualize this as well. Most people have something like this where it looks like leads, and then let's say people opted in. Let me see, and then like booked a call, and then let's say submitted application, and then so forth, right? Submit the application and then close, something like that. Most people have something like this, and even others even add in like the like if you're running ads, maybe it's like impressions, CTR, and most and others, right? But I want to focus on this part because this is really where, because there are a lot of software that can automate the Facebook ad side, right? So things like Supermetrics and things like that. Maybe we can cover that in a future video. But I wanted to focus on like how do we track these without any manual input, right? Meaning literally most people would have something like date, and then they'd come in every day. Like today is the 22nd, and then they'd come in this sheet. They're gonna open their CRM or whatever, and like, oh, I had 5 leads today. 3 people opted into my video sales letter or my video training. 1 person booked a call, 1 application, and 0 closed. Right? Usually, this is a manual thing where people come in the sheet, and then what happens over time, we notice that no one updates it. So you hop into this, and then you go through like 5 days of data, which all are like missing, right? So that's kind of what we want to show you guys, like how we automate this, so that it's always updated and we don't have to manually like put in most of the data, right? So that's what we're gonna cover today. And if you have any
Awesome,
other,
bro.
yeah, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments.
Yes, I am
And
monitoring our comment section. That's gonna be my main role. We actually have 6 people watching, bro. So we're
cool.
good. Yeah.
Nice. Welcome, welcome. All right. So yeah, so let's just dive right in. Again, if you have any questions, just let us know in the comments. You can always watch the replay, like Fran said. Where will it be, Fran? The replay?
Yep. It's just gonna be in our Facebook group. I'll pin it on
Cool.
our unit section after this. So.
Nice. Great. Cool. So you guys can watch that. And if you stay until the end, we're also going to share with you a landing page where you can actually get this sheet. So you can get this sheet, and you can also Zapier has this sharing thing. So we might be able to share the Zap itself with you. So then you can like customize it for your agency or for your business, right? So stay until the end, and we'll get that going for you. All right.
Nice.
So cool. So let's just get started. So how do we build something like this, right? So let's just keep it simple, and we'll have four different steps, right? Where let's just do 3. Let's make it simple. So we have people who become leads, meaning they opt in for maybe an ebook you're giving away, or maybe whatever it is that you're doing to generate that email, right? And then you have people book a call with you after they generate the email, after they give you their email, and then let's say they submit an application after, standard application funnel that most agencies use for inbound. All right. So how do we go about tracking this, right? So what we like to do in something like this is we like to build what we call a data log, or like what we call a status log. Actually, we call it different things, but then let's call it the status log, right? Which is, it's basically going to be a running log of like a date, the email of the person, and then the action, right? So what does this mean? Let me just clean this up. Basically, we want to be able to log whenever someone takes an action, right? What does log mean? So basically, a log means, like, example, if right now I opted in the format, let's say date time. Let's say on April 22, like 5 p.m. or 5 a.m. I opted in the your lead magnet or something. So we want to say like leads, right? So we want to keep a running log of people making actions inside your funnel, right? So example, if this guy, the same person, the support at Augment Digital email, 5 minutes later books a call, then we'd have something like this, like book call, right? So the goal of this is to create what we call like a status log of like actions people take inside your funnel, right? The reason why is because this makes it easy for us then to build this one, right? Because now it will be a matter of looking up, okay, how many people logged a lead action within this specific time frame, right? So it removes the need for you to be counting manually, like how many leads did I get on this day, how many calls did I book, how many applications were submitted, right? So we just do a running log. Example, if they submitted an application another 5 minutes later, it would be something like submitted application, right? So this is like what we want to build, because then what we'll be able to do, which I'll just show here very quickly, is we'll be able to build something where it would say, okay, since there was one lead here, it would say 1 here, and there's a book call in the same day. So there will be 1 call, and then there will be 1 application, right? And this will be all automatic, and we'll show you how to build that. All right. So this is kind of like what we call a status log. So given that we know we have to build this status log, what we do then is we make sure that every step in the funnel has a Zap that will add a row into this sheet, right? So for example, when someone opts in as a lead, and you're gonna have a CRM, whatever you use, like Mailchimp, ConvertKit, Drip, or like ActiveCampaign, whatever it is, there is going to be a Zap for it, right? So there's always going to be some sort of trigger that you can use to add people here, right? So I'll just show. So we're gonna do that for every step inside your funnel, and then we're gonna build this whole like query, like this what do you call this, like summary table of like the daily metrics, right? So let me see. Cool. All right. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna build. Fran, yeah, is it making sense so far for you? Like, do you have any questions before I move forward and like just build these apps?
No, all good, bro. We have Loy, we have Dean watching. Thanks, guys, for watching here. If you guys have any questions, again, let us know in the comments
Cool.
below. We are gonna dive deep into this into the Zap here, so all good, man.
All right, nice. So yeah, so this is how this is gonna look like. All right, so we're gonna build a Zap where whenever we get a new lead inside our active campaign, we're gonna add them. We're gonna log them here, right? So depending on what you use, we use active campaign, so we're gonna write active campaign here. The trigger usually for the Zap would be a new lead kind of thing. So new contact added to list, right? So for other platforms, you're gonna have something similar, which means like new subscriber or something like that. You just want to log that because that means that you have a new lead, right? So in our case, let's use this Augment Digital one. You're gonna choose your account, then you're gonna choose the list. So let's just use the Agency Rocket Fuel one, and then continue, test and review to get like a sample data set, right? So once you have that trigger set up, what you're gonna do then is have an action which is tied to Google Sheets, right? So that whenever a new contact is added to your list, you're gonna add a spreadsheet row to your marketing metrics sheet, right? So you're gonna choose your Google account, pretty standard, and then you're going to pick your spreadsheet. In this case, the marketing metrics spreadsheet, right? And then the worksheet is the status log over here. And then here you go. So you can see that the data I've put here has transferred here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put a date, right? And the date signifies when the action has been taken, right? Because again, we wanna see like when people become a lead, when people book a call, when people submitted an application, and so forth. And not many people know this, but in Zapier they have this built-in function called Zap Meta Human Now, which allows you to log the actual time that the Zap runs. So example, sometimes when you have a trigger, they don't like, there's no date that you can tie into, like the moment that the Zap runs, which is what we want to capture. So what you can actually write here is this Zap underscore, or two curly brackets, Zap underscore meta underscore human underscore now. And what this will give you is actually the current date and time, and you'll see it in a bit. For the email, you can grab it here. For the action, let's call it leads, right? Just like our sample here. So we put leads. So what's gonna happen here is once I click continue and then test and review, you'll see that the email is added here. And you can see the date time right now, which is on my date, which is April 22, 8:46 a.m. And you're gonna see their email, and you're gonna see the actual that lead action I put. Right. So now you can imagine what happens with the Zap is whenever I have a new lead in my list inside Active Campaign, they're gonna be logged here. Right. So what will happen over time, and I'm just gonna simulate that experience across different emails. It would look something like this, right? Email one. Let me just like, because we don't have any sample data, but then it would look something like this. And then let's say over time we get over the last few days we get one lead per day. It would look something like this, right? Where we have email one that opts in, and it's like something like that. Email three. So yeah, so this is how this would populate over time, right? Actually, let's just make it +1. This is how this would populate over time. Like if every day I got a new lead at 8:46 a.m., it would basically just keep adding new leads in here, right? So this is what we kind of want to build, and we'll show you how that you can you can get it all in this sheet later. But this is basically that log, right? And you're going to do the same with your book call and submit application, right? So it depends on you what software you use for let's create lead metrics. It depends on you what software you use for your book calls. For us, we use Calendly. So we can literally do the same thing, which is we're going to have a Calendly trigger, right? So whenever someone books a call with us, invitee created, you could use Acuity, you could use whatever, GHL. Every platform has a way to connect to Zapier to do this. And then we're going to get a random call, sample this one. And then whenever someone does a call, again, we're just going to connect it to the Google Sheet, create spreadsheet row, augment, choose the same worksheet as we did a while ago. So it's the exact same thing. And then status log, right? Again, put the date using the Zap MetaHuman Now. Zap underscore meta. And then email is, let's pull the email from the actual trigger. And then the action is book call. If I got that right, book call, and make sure it's the same here. Let's rename this book call. All right, so let's do that, continue, and let's test and review. So you'll see that it gets added here, right? Book call. And again, as people book calls with you, since you have the Zap on, once you turn this on and everything's good, every time someone books a call with you, it will continue logging here. So for the sake of an example, I'm gonna add 2 more. That's like 1 day apart. So I do a +1 just to simulate data, meaning let's say time has passed and we're getting a bunch of like calls in the next few days, right? Let me just spread this out a bit so it has some variety, right? And the same thing will happen with your submit application. So maybe let's say you use Typeform to get applications, meaning someone fills out a form and then they that means they given you some more information about their business before you talk to them. So let's say you have a Typeform trigger. Again, everything is pretty simple, like similar. Like all you need is a trigger for whatever action that is, and you need an action that ties it to the Google Sheet, right? So in our case, we have I think this one we can use. I have no data in here, I believe. Okay, here you go. Some tests. And then again, the exact same thing. We're going to create a spreadsheet row. And then add it to the ARF metrics. I mean, the marketing metrics sheet. Whoops. Same, pick your worksheet. So again, everything is similar. So you can actually just, if you already have existing Zaps that signify your book call, your whatever steps are there in the funnel, you just have to bolt in this action inside that Zap, right? You don't have to make an entirely new Zap all the time. So MetaHuman Now. Again, and then the email, let's grab it from the Typeform. Where is the email? I'm sure there was an email here. Here you go. And then let's call submitted application, submit application, right? That's the action. Click continue, and then let's test and review. And you can see it's added, right? So this is basically the goal, to basically build like a database of actions whenever someone takes that action in your funnel, right?
Sounds
Cool.
good, bro.
Any questions so far from the
we have
team?
a couple questions here. Well, yeah.
Sure.
Before I dive into that, bro, I think you need to put me on the screen.
Yeah.
You know where you press that button up above, like on the upper right,
How do you do that?
on your face, like on your face. There's like a guys. This is our first time doing this, by the way. So
What
like where you add the like. Now it's just me, but then there's like one button there where show thumbnail video, I think.
Show thumbnail. I'm not sure, bro.
All right, it's all good, guys. So we have a question over here. Yeah, we are using a Zapier. Aloy is asking. Yep, Calendly. It's free, right? If they need to use this for this app.
Yeah, all free.
Oh man, now Richard's saying we don't need to see you. So I have my a good friend here, Richard. Yeah, so How many VAs do you use? I know for this system you don't need it, but I think he's just asking if we're using any VAs. So we actually don't use any virtual assistants. We actually have a team, in the Philippines. If you guys know, like both me and Reynard, we're from the Philippines, and we have an awesome team there. We have media buyers, copywriters, and so they're pretty specialized in what they do, especially for our agency clients. But a lot with our admin stuff, like especially with the Zaps that we build, and we don't actually use like virtual assistants, as the name suggests, right?
Yeah, we have Nicole, our client success director for ARF. She's the one who's been working with me on building all the apps for agency. So yeah, we don't have VAs for this one primarily.
Yeah. And so our philosophy is like we try to remove as much admin stuff as possible so we don't need VA, so that we have like specialized like roles, right? As media buyers, copywriters, creatives, to fill in those roles within the agency.
Yep.
Hope that answers your question, Richard. Dude, yeah, you don't need to see me, man.
Yep, we don't.
Cool.
I think it's like it shows whoever's speaking, bro. Like
yeah.
that's what I see. You're on
Cool,
the screen when you speak.
There has to be a course for this, bro.
I know,
Anyway.
let's make one. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, so I'm just gonna, so this is what it's gonna look like over time, right? And I'm just gonna tweak the numbers a bit just so we have a bit more data to play with, and like we have some sample like kind of data to work with when we put this in that sheet, right? So let's say this one is like that, and let's say we have data coming in a few days in a row. Again, I'm just gonna simulate some of these so we have something to work with. And then let's make this the 24th. All right. Cool. Let me see. And then this is the leads. All right. So let's say that you've set up the Zaps, right? Now you have Zaps for the different steps in your funnel. Oh, shoot. Which is like submit application to metrics sheet. Let's say you now have Zaps for each step in your funnel. The next step, you're going to start logging them here, right? So the next question is, Reynard, Fran, this is not what I wanted. Like, this is not what I was building. I was looking to do like a daily metrics thing. So how does this work, right? So let me show you how that will now happen all automatically, right? So since I have data up until the 28th, let me just simulate that. Let's say I have until 28th, and then just go all the way back a few days. How I did that is I have a date here, and then I do like an equals above the. Is there a way to zoom this so you guys can see it clear? So like we have this date one, and then I just do a -1 just to simulate the data, right? So how do we pull all those numbers into this automatically, right? So we're going to use a function in Google Sheets called COUNTIFs, right? So COUNTIFs is basically a function where you count if there's data. It's pretty,
Yes.
I didn't know that even. Pretty self-explanatory. You count, let me just write here. Let's see what Google says. Count values depending on multiple criteria. Right?
Yes,
So,
thank you, Google.
so how does this work, right? So just to show you a sample data set, so it's called a summary, but just so it's very clear. So let's say you have leads. So if you do a COUNTIFs here, like equals COUNTIFs, right? Let's say this is your criteria range. So you're telling Google that look at how many rows in this column, in this row that I picked, or this range of data that I picked, has the word says leads, right? Whenever you put text, you need to make sure it's there is double quotes. So you click enter, there's 3, right? If I change one of these to something else, it becomes 2, right? And then if I change it to whatever, it becomes 1, right? But if I add more, as you see, it will keep increasing, right? So that's kind of the magic of COUNTIFs. And it's not only one, it's not only one column of data you can do this on. If I add another column, and let's say we have another column here, just like random stuff like a random data set here. If I add another column here where I'm like, okay, other than looking if there this A column has the word leads, can you check? You're telling Google, can you check if column B has the letter B? So you can see that now it says 3 because there are 3 columns that say leads. There are 3 rows which has both leads here and then B. If I change this to C, you can see it becomes 2. If I change leads to something else, or something else. It still says 2 because again, there are 2 leads and B combinations. If I make this something else, it becomes 1 because now there's only one row, which is both leads and B, right? So you guys can see how I'm low battery. You guys can see how this count ifs thing works, right? And you can make this dynamic, meaning if I put leads here, let me just transfer this for a bit, and then I put B here. What I can do is I can then swap this out. Instead of actually making it static, we're going to make it dynamic, right? And make this one dynamic as well. Swap it out with an actual variable. So you can see if I switch this to something else, it becomes 1 because there's one row that's something else in B. If I make this C, you see it still says 1. And if I make it A, there's nothing because there's no set of data which is both something else and A. But if I make this leads, then there will be 4, right? Because there are 4 rows of data. So that's how COUNTIF works. And COUNTIF works, COUNTIF works not only on text, but it also works on numbers and dates, right? And I hope you guys are starting to like piece it together where if you do this here, what we're gonna do is basically tell Google to count ifs, right? Count ifs. We're gonna do it. We're gonna count this, count the number of rows that says leads, right? If I do that, you can see there are 9, which is right? There are 9 leads here. And if I do a count here, there's 9, right? But that doesn't help us from a day-to-day basis because like it will say 9 across the board, which is not what we want, right? So what we're gonna do is add, I'm just gonna show this as a date time so you can see it starts at 0. We're gonna tell Google, okay, Google, since I want to see only the leads that came in after the 28th, can you also add a range? Can we also add a range where we check this column which has the date, and then say that it has to be greater than or equal to, and you have to add these quotes and then end this data point, this date. So if I click enter, you can see it's 0. So why is it 0? Because there is no, everything is like the 22nd, 23rd, 24th. We don't have any data points of leads on the 28th. But if I change this to 28 just to show you guys, you can see that there's now 1 lead, right? So that's how this is all gonna come together. And if I drag this down all the way, you can see it's still not what we want because it's only greater than, right? So it's telling you, okay, how many leads do you get after the 23rd? There are 6 because this is the 23rd. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we want like a day-to-day thing, right? So what we're going to do is add another condition where we say, hey, Google, other than checking if it's greater than or equal to this date, right? To this date we have here, can you also make sure it's lesser than the next day? Meaning it's in between the 28th, the 12 a.m. of 28th, and the 12 a.m. of the 29th, right? So what we're gonna add here is then another condition. Another condition which is like, Google, can you check this data range, which is the date, right? A, and then make sure it's lesser than, right? Lesser than. And we have to add these corner quotes to cover them and then the and sign. Lesser than the sum of this one and 1. Okay. So why do we do sum 1? Because this sum thing is basically telling Google what is April 28 plus 1, which is April 29. You can see the data here. April 29, 12 a.m. Right? So just to show you guys and make it clear, if I do a sum here like this, you can see that it is this is a range, right? 27 and 28, right? So we're telling Google that, hey, get me count the number of leads, right, that came in between these 2 dates, right? Greater than or equal this, lesser than this, right? So if I drag this down all the way, copy it and just paste it all, you can see now how it has kind of organized itself. Right, so now it's counted 5 leads on the 23rd because we do have 5 leads on the 23rd, right? We have 1 lead on the 28th and we have 3 leads on the 22nd, right? So now you can see that as this sheet populates, as your Zap populates these sheets with like new leads come in, they automatically get counted here, and you do not even have to touch this sheet, right? It's all being pulled by those count ifs, right? So And we do the same with the book call, right? So what we're gonna do here though is we're gonna make this dynamic, meaning we're gonna swap this in and then choose the header, and we're gonna lock the variable by putting in a $sign, and then copy it all the way down, and you can see that it's still the same thing. And if I just copy this here and paste it all the way here, you'll see that it didn't work. And the reason why is because now my date got moved here, so it's counting the wrong thing. So we're gonna use this this $sign to lock in the variable to make sure it doesn't move when I copy it, right? So if you can see, if I paste it here, it now works. Submit application. Let's change the verbiage here. All right. So you can see there's one book call, one book call on the 26th because we have here 26th. One book call on the 24th right here, and then one book call on the 28th right here, and one application submitted on the 22nd, right? So now as you get calls coming in, as you get new calls coming in through the Zaps, they fill up, and you can see that these numbers will just go up, right? So let me just copy that. Here you go. Let me see. Book call 24th. You can see there are 9, right? So now you can imagine that you don't even have to touch the sheet anymore, right? To keep your metrics updated, all you really have to do is make sure your Zaps feed the data here, and the formulas here will automatically just keep counting, right? And this one itself can be what do you call this, dynamic. So if you use today, which is like a formula to get today's date, it will automatically update, meaning every day this will change. Like tomorrow, this will be the 23rd. So it will be a running list. And this one will be, will always be -1, meaning it's going to be the date before. So this will all also update automatically depending on the day to day. So as the data comes in, this will also change. And all you have to do is look at this to see what your daily metrics are. And there's so many other things you can do. Most people here, you can have a sum, let's say 3, 6, 9, how many days is this? Like 11, last 11 days. So let's do 12, 13, 14. Let's say last 14 days of data. You can do like things like total, right? This is the usual format. What's the total number in the last 7 days? So you sum that, right? And let's say I'm gonna go back to that 5 days ahead. So we have our sample data. So you can see there's the totals here, and then you can do conversion rates, right? This is the usual setup where you have what's your conversion rate from book call to lead. So you're gonna make that into a percentage. Copy this. So there's 33%. So you can see over time, as this database gets filled up, this will automatically update for you, right? Which again, when we started this video, this show, most people do this manually. But now, like as you have your Zap set up, and your formula set up here, this is all gonna be automatic, right? So
sounds good.
That's mostly it.
Yeah, man. We had a couple people join right in the middle here, but yeah, just to refresh you guys, whoever is still on here, the reason that we're kind of showing you the nuts and bolts here is that a lot of agencies, they manually input, right, Reynard? Like they manually input these data into their Excel spreadsheets. And the issue is, what if someone forgets to add the data, right? Or
Yeah.
like, maybe someone misses a day or misses one input. And so that kind of messes up with our dashboards, with our analysis and all that. And so we want to remove that as much as possible. And so if you guys are watching just for the first time, you can go back to the recording of this. We explained to you kind of like the beginning steps of the Zaps and the foundations before we because we're kind of getting pretty granular right now. If you're just hopping on, it might not make sense right now, but you can always watch the replay of this.
Yep. So that's basically it. And there's so many other things you can do on top of this. Like you can look at last 3 day only. Again, just to automate this a bit, there's a bunch of things you can do. Like example, instead of just getting daily metrics, right? We can do like, let's say what's the last 3 days worth of data, right? So how we do that is if we copy this, let's not do 3 day. Let's do a last 14-day summary. So what we're gonna do is let's tell, how do we do last 14-day? Let's tell Google that, okay, count how many leads we're getting. That's greater than today, right? Today minus 14. and then what's lesser than today, meaning we're getting a date range between last 14 days and then just like today. So let me see if it works. Today minus 14 greater than or equal to day greater than equal to B1 lesser than today. Let's see why this is not working. So this is the process of you figuring out like why our stuff not working. So this happens. 14.
Cool. So while we're trying to figure this out here, we have a couple people on here. Matthew, Aaron, Richard. Thanks guys for hopping on. If you're just watching now, we do an Automate Your Agency show every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Replays are going to be available in the unit section of this Facebook group. What we do here is we peel back the curtains of the automations that we use, not just to run our agency, but also the other agencies that we help build systems for. And our philosophy is if a machine can do it, let the machine do it so we can have human beings focus on more high leverage work. And so if you're watching just right now, what we're doing is we're trying to collect data from marketing and sales and really putting them into this sheet so that, because usually what agencies do is they manually input this, right? Or they have their VAs kind of put this into their systems. And the issue comes when the VA forgets to put the data, or maybe they put the wrong data in. And so that kind of messes up with our analysis. It messes up with our dashboards. And so we don't want that, especially as the owners, right? And as the leaders of our businesses, we want to make sure we have the right data at the right time. And so if you're just watching right now, we're actually just about to wrap up here. But at the start of this video, we did kind of explain the zaps that we used to kind of put these data back into the sheet. And so with that impromptu, whatever it is that I did, I think Reynard is now ready to show the data. Let's go.
Yep. So so why it wasn't working is I realized like I had no data in the last 7 days in my sample set. So I kind of moved things around. But now you can see like I'm getting a summary of like how much did I get in the last 14 days in one formula. I don't have to do something, right? So I'm telling Google, okay, Google, look at status log column C, count whatever says leads, right? The action. Get only leads that came in greater than or equal to today minus 14, which is the last 14 days. And it's lesser than today, meaning the date range is 14 days ago, and then between today and last 14 days ago. 14 days ago. So then now what we can do also is we can have 3-day, 7-day, even 30-day look backs, and we can make this dynamic as well, where the 14 is gonna be like variable, right? And again, we're gonna do that lock thing, which is the $. And if I copy this out down, you can see it's all automatic. Last 3 days, there's no data. Let's check. Yeah, there's nothing in the last 3 days. But if you look at the last 7 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I have 1 lead in the last 7 days. I have 2 book calls and 3 book calls in the last 7 days, and I have 0 applications. So 1, 2, 0. The reason why it's 2 is because, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks at the last 7 days. Today's the 22nd, so it actually counts from here. So that's why there are 2. Here 2. And then 0 applications. And you can see how it's 931 for the last 14 days. And same with the 30 days because we only have 14 days of data, right? So there's so many things you can do here, but at its simplest, right, doing just this part, which is getting your daily data, you're able to really automate most of this already, right? Again, just to recap, all you really need is a status log, which is like, or you can call it whatever you want, but it's a log of actions basically that people take in your funnel. And then you just have a summary sheet that uses formulas that count ifs, to count how many of these are happening on a day-to-day basis, right? And now, as you get those zaps up, where you have like your the Calendly, the lead, the application, and they feed data in here, this one becomes totally automatic. And all you have to do as the agency owner is really check in on the sheet every day, because the data will always be updated. You don't need a VA to do this. You don't need yourself to do this. You just need to like open the sheet and it's done, right? So you set it once and you literally forget about it. You just make sure you have the sheet bookmarked and you have all your metrics in one place, right?
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. I think we can open up for some questions, or is there anything else you want to add?
No, that should be it. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. We see some agencies, they have their VAs kind of get data from different they pull it from different channels, and then they either send it on Slack or they put it on a Google Sheet or whatever it is that they do. So we're trying to remove this step so that, again, we have quality data coming into our systems, right? So I don't know who is on here yet, but if you guys have any questions around this one, let us know in the comments. But while we're waiting for those questions, also let us know, what processes do you currently do in your agency right now that you're doing manually, right? Because we do want to help this, we want to make this group as valuable as possible. So if you're doing something manually every single day as an owner, if you have team members doing something manually, we might be able to automate that. Let us know in the comments below or send us a message so that we can showcase that in our future shows. Cool.
For sure.
Yeah, I think we can stop sharing, bro.
Cool.
At this stage, yeah.
And yeah, I think
what was
one
that?
more thing, bro. Like, yeah, before I wrap this one, I'll just show like what our dashboard looks like, just so they
Right.
can see like what it could look like over time. So this is our dashboard for Agency Rocket Fuel itself. So you can see that we track more than just leads, book calls, and submit applications, right? So we also track unsubscribes. So we have a net leads number, which is new leads minus unsubscribes. We've been getting a fair lot the last few days, but we have like a VSL, because we don't only have a we have an ebook kind of thing. We have different lead magnets going on, and then we have the VSL. So our funnel looks like lead magnet, VSL, and then we want them to watch the entire thing, and then they hopefully book a call with us so we can like give them more customized advice. And of course, hopefully, if they're a right fit, we continue to work with them, right? So we have all these numbers, which is like opted in, book call, application, like what we already see here. But we've kind of taken it up a notch as well, and we're using a platform called Vidalytics to also track how many people are watching through our videos. Meaning, if we have a VSL, we're able to track, okay, how many people reach the 25% mark, the 50% mark, the 75% mark, and they reach the part in the video that we tell them to book a call, right? So we're able to get all these numbers, like out of how many people opted in our VSL, how many was reach the part of the video that they were offered a call, and out of those people, how many actually booked the call. So you can see the power of this, where we have all these numbers completely automated. So none of our team goes in here to update the numbers. We just open the sheet and we have a pulse of how everything's going. Like, okay, right now, we're seeing our numbers go up. Like over time, our averages are getting better. Oh, look, our VSL to book rate is getting down. So we kind of need to like maybe improve something on our VSL and our calls and stuff like that. So this makes it very easy for us to track, and again, removes a lot of the manual work. So we know exactly what we have to focus on right now for our marketing, and we don't have to make any guesswork. Right. So this is like what the final product could look like in terms of the data you can pull. Right.
Sounds good. Cool. So yeah, shameless plug over here. If you guys want to see some of our ads, go ahead and check out Agency Rocket Fuel. That is our business page. But then we are running ads right now, and we're getting all these data. We're plugging it into our sheets. Again, if you go back to the start of the show, we kind of explain kind of like the foundations first before we dove into like the specifics here. I see Mark over here. Mike, thanks for watching, guys. It is a long video, but like you guys can always watch the replay in the units section of this Facebook group. Cool. Cool, bro.
Nice.
What's next here? I think that's pretty much it. Again, more of the story. We don't want your VAs or we don't want your team members to be manually putting in data, especially for your marketing or even your sales, because we want to be able to capture that, right, and make more analysis out of that. If you watch like the 75% of this video, Rainer kind of explains to you guys kind of like us looking at the metrics of how many people are watching our stuff, and then we can make decisions from there.
Well,
cool.
sure.
And so, yeah, these are, once again, we do this show every 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, Pacific Standard Time. We're going to do another one next week. If you're doing something manually, do let us know that you are doing this. And so we can kind of showcase this in our future shows. If you do want our help, though, like if you want us to kind of just help you diagnose some of the stuff that you do in your agency, we do just want to give back. We are doing this kind of like 20-minute, I would say it's a coaching call with us, where we kind of just dive deep into some of the things that you do in your agency. There's no pitch in there. There's no selling that's going to be involved. We're just going to kind of diagnose some of the issues that you're having, see what you can automate, what you can delegate, and really just show you what some of our best clients are doing, what we're doing. And again, I promise you, we're not going to sell you anything on this call. Rainer, where should they be going if they kind of want to take advantage of a coaching call with us?
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, for sticking around, we're gonna share a page where you can grab. We're gonna put a link to this sheet we're gonna share some of these zaps. If that's already available with Zapier. If not, we're gonna put like screenshots or whatever for you to be able to follow. So at the bottom of that page, you should be able to schedule a time with Fran or I. And yeah, the point of the call is just to, it's 20 minutes. It's not enough time to really to sell you anything. So
Yeah.
what we really want to do is just like even just like one tweak or like one system that you can take away from what we're doing. That's what we kind of want to like give back to the community, right? We've gotten so much from the different people we follow as well online, and given this platform, we just really want to give back as well with some of like the people who do follow us right now. So yeah, so that you guys can look there. We're gonna drop the link to that page at the in the comments.
Yeah.
So you can grab that there.
Yeah. If you want us to send it to you, if you want me to send it to you personally, just let me know. Just say hashtag Zap, or I don't know, just give me an emoji or whatever, and I'll be sure to send that over to you guys. But yep, that's it. This is our first time doing this, so guys, thank you so much for watching this. I see 5 people still watching this show. If you guys have any questions, we'll stick around for maybe 2 or 3 more minutes here. If not, then we'll just hop off here. And again, we'll archive the show over to the left.
Yep, good stuff, man.
Cool, bro. That's actually pretty good. So once again, guys, Matthew, Mark, Mike, thanks for watching. Let us know after you watch the replay to this. Let us know what stuff you're doing manually so that we can do this in our future shows. Again, we're not holding anything back. If you actually just watch tidbits of this video, Rainer actually dives deep into the zaps, into how to structure the spreadsheets and actually what to put on there. So we want to make sure like this is actionable for you guys. Mike saying, I'll check out the replay. You guys are beasts. Dude, thank you so much. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate that. And yeah, it's been wonderful. And so again, we'll send you guys the link to a page if you want to kind of download the zaps and the sheet. So we're going to be sending this to you guys so that you can actually implement it. The worst thing that we can do is create the show and actually no one uses it, right? We want you guys to use it so that it will actually transform your life, give you back your time, and make your agency as efficient as possible. And so with that, we will close off this show. Thank you to everyone that is watching.
Thank you.
Yes. And so hope wherever you are in the world, hope you are having a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, and hope you're not watching too much Netflix in the afternoon. So
watch your show instead.
Yeah, watch your show. All right, guys. Thank you so much. This is Franbo.
And this is Reynard here.
And we'll see you guys in the next show.
Yep. Peace out, guys.
See ya. End meeting. Do we just end this?
I think you can end the live, bro.
How do I end the live? Oh, this is so cool. You guys are seeing us actually doing this.